Hello and welcome to another video tutorial on database. Today I want to take you through how to produce a report when you have two tables or relational database. Okay, so if you take a good look at the 2016 specimen paper, I've highlighted a portion of the bulleted point of question 27 in purple and the others in yellow. Those that are in purple are those who have to do within the query, and the ones in yellow will be done in a report. The whole reason is if you have to produce a report, you need a query. Okay, this part is very important to me. The part that says shows only the fields vein, model, power, engine size, and delivered new price. These are the final fields that needs to show in your database. Sorry, in your report, and it must follow this order in which they appear. Now, the other fields that will come into the query are the ones on top. Okay, so the ones on top also are part of the fields you are to import into the query when you are creating it. However, you will uncheck these two parts, country and then this part. You will uncheck it because it's not part of the final fields that needs to be fully visible. I hope we understand that part. All right, so to start with, we're going to open the table and then import these two in creating a query. So I'll quickly go to the database and then demonstrate that to you. All right, so I go to create and go to query wizard. Okay, and at this point you have the distributor table and then you have the car table. You have to choose at least one field from either of the two tables to create the query. If not, when you are done with the query, you wouldn't get anything in the table that is created. Okay, so from here we bring in the vein, the model, power, engine size, cost price. We need to bring in color, and the next part of the question says we need port, distributor, and delivered price. Now delivered price is a new field we have to create, and that will only be created when we are done with the query. So we have to concentrate on port, distributed, and distributor. So we'll continue with the question. So I have in the other table, which is the distributors, ports. So I bring in ports. The next one is the distributor. The distributor is in the other table, which is cars. So I bring in distributor. And then the last part we need is the delivered price. Delivered price is a new field, as I mentioned earlier on. So we are done with the first part here of all the fields that needs to show. Now we have to go up and then make sure that these two fields also come into the query we are creating. So we have to look at country. So go back to the next one because country comes before the other is not really necessary, but we need country here. So that is in distributor. So country, we bring in country, and then the last one is the dispatch. So dispatch is in cars. So we bring in dispatch and click on next. Next, and then we click on modify and finish. So when we click on modify and finish, it brings us to the design view. All right, to continue with what we want to do, I need to go back to the first bullet point that talks about the delivered price. So I need to have delivered price and this field here will calculate the cost price of the car plus a standard delivery charge of 200 euros. So it's going to be cost price plus 200 euros. So that is all I have to do in the last field. So we move to the last part of the field and type in delivered price, and column, and then use a square bracket to type in the cost price. Yeah, cost price, and close the square, and then minus 200, sorry, plus 200. Right. So that is we have to run to see if it works. So yeah, it's working. Now you can see that the delivered price here needs to be in euros, but here we have it in dollars, so we have to change that. We'll go to the design view and do that changes that we have to effect that change there. So we right click and go to properties, and then we come to format, and under format we find the euro, and it has to be in 2 decimal place because it's currency. And so we do that and click on OK. So now we've got it in euro, and that is the first bullet point of the query. So the next bullet point here also is where country is France and cars have not been dispatched. So we go to country, so go back to the design view, and under this needs to be closed because we're done. So under criteria for country we type in France, and for dispatch we type no because it says the cars have not been dispatched, so no. So we run, and then that is all we have for the 2 part. Now again, coming back to the third bullet point here, although I've included country and dispatch, the last bullet point here for the fields does not include country and dispatch because they are not supposed to be visible. So we have to uncheck those 2 boxes. So uncheck country and uncheck dispatch and run. All right, so that is the information we need for the query. So if you go all the way right, so that is all we need for the query. So now we have to move on to the next bullet point, and use it to create the report. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we're going to do virtually the rest in the report. Okay, so this we can do in the query, but however I decide I want to do that in the report. So I'm going to do the remaining part in the report. So all I have to do is close the table and save it first before you close, right? So we move on to creating the report now. So we go to the report wizard, and then that is the query we created. So we have to bring in everything and click on next, and go to the next, and then now we are sorting in ascending order using Vin, and click on next. So here the bullet point says that it should be on a single page, and the orientation should be landscape, so we choose landscape, and then we have to calculate the total number of cars in this selected portion. Right, we'll do that when we are done with the report. And the next part says, so the other bullet says that includes the heading dispatch. Okay, so that we also would do. So here I can just change the name of the report to dispatched. So here this part says that we have dispatch manifest into bracket port rest. So this part here will go into the name of the the name of the report. So if I go back to my report, I have to just replace that. Go to modify and click on finish. Right, so the report has been created with dispatch manifest into bracket port breast as the heading, and below the footer I include in my name, center number, candidate number at the left footer. So to do that I have to use label, and there's a left footer, so I include in name and then center number and then the candidate number. So you add your candidate number to it. So that will go to the left part of the report. Okay, so I have to go to the layout view. So this is a layout view, and then here everything is not showing. So we just have to adjust to make sure everything is showing. So it's easier to do the alignment within the layout views and make your work very easier. All right, so readjust all this, make sure the headings are visible, everything is visible in the headings, and then that'll be it. Now if you look at delivered price, some of the, you have this part here in the hashtag simply showing telling us that the field is too small to hold in the information, so we just enlarge to bring out everything. So if I enlarge this, everything will show. All right, so this line here, I mean, informs us that anything that goes outside will not be printed. So that is when they talk about fit on a single page. So make sure you drag everything into this dotted line and that dotted line. So it just tells us that everything should fit on one single page. So we are almost through with this. The last part is to do the part that says calculate the total number of cars. So the number of cars here obviously will be based on the models, all right? So we can use the model to do that. So here, if I click on model, I right click and go to total label, and you can click on records. When you do that, you find in here the total number right there, or the total number of records count. Okay, or you can equally click on value and it gives you the same number. All right, and then you set a caption by still clicking on right click and then the caption. And however, the caption you are supposed to have here is total cars. So we type in total cars for France. Okay, so that is supposed to be the caption. um, that is it for the report. We are virtually done with everything we need to do under the report. So on this note, I encourage you to practice with the 2017 past paper. The past paper has exactly the same thing, and you just have to watch the video again and practice to make sure you are able to do exactly that. Do not forget to bring in your candidate number, your name, and center number at the footer of the report. If you don't do that, you don't get any mark for your work. It will not be considered. So we click on print preview to view what we've actually done. And so that is it. Now you realize that the print preview, you don't have your name appearing. So very important, we go back and have to do the adjustment. Right, so if it is not showing, just take it up a little and print preview again to see if it is there. So print preview again, and yes, still our name is not there. So what do we do? Since our name is not there, we have to go to the design view include our name right at the page footer. Since it's in the report footer instruction, we just bring it here to the page footer, and it must show. So let's go to the print preview this time and see what is there. All right, so our name is right there within the report. Okay, it's very important to check if your name candidate number is there before you print. If not, you don't get any marks, as I said earlier on. So on this note, we bring it to the end of report. I encourage you to practice, and right, till we meet again, take care. Bye bye.